Hello, Acadia. Hello, Lucy. This is the second half of Mercy Watson Goes for a Ride. And we're up to the end of chapter 6. This is the end of chapter 6. See, we're going to start reading. That's the end of chapter 7. We're going to start reading chapter 8. That says 8. And remember, the last thing that happened was that Mercy Watson wanted to drive, and Mr. Watson got distracted because Baby was in the back seat. So he turned around to look, and Mercy thought this is her big chance she can drive. So she jumped in his lap and put her hooves on the steering wheel, and off they go. And Mr. Watson can't push her off. Meanwhile, you probably remember there's a police car that's following them because they were speeding. See that? A police car? And Mr. Watson never looks back, although he did look back to see Baby in the back seat, but he doesn't know there's a police car following them. And now Mercy Watson is driving, and Baby's in the back seat, and Eugenia, who is Baby Lincoln's sister, wonders, where did Baby Lincoln go? So now we're up to chapter 8. Chapter 8. Back on Decawoo Drive, Eugenia Lincoln was looking for Baby. She looked in Baby's bed. Baby was not there. She looked on the back step. Baby was not there either. There's Eugenia. She's got blue hair for some reason. "Baby!" shouted Eugenia. "Reveal yourself at once." But Baby did not reveal herself. "Where could she be?" said Eugenia. "And why do I think this has something to do with that pig?" Eugenia marched next door. She rang the Watsons' bell. Ding, 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 ding. "Mrs. Watson," said Eugenia, "Baby is missing." Here's a picture. She's at the door. "Baby is missing." "Goodness," said Mrs. Watson, "and I believe that your pig is responsible." "Mercy?" said Mrs. Watson. "Yes," said Eugenia, "exactly." "But Mercy is not here," said Mrs. Watson. "She's on her Saturday ride with Mr. Watson." Eugenia turned and looked down the road. "Folly," she said. "Heavens," said Mrs. Watson. "You don't think—" "I do think," said Eugenia. "That is my point exactly. I do think. And apparently I am the only one around here who does." Look at that expression. Whoa, Eugenia. She just gets mad about everything. She's a real stick in the mud. Chapter 9. Officer Tomilello had to go very fast to catch up with the convertible. The officer had to speed. "Is that vehicle swerving?" Officer Tomilello asked himself. "It is," he answered himself. "It is most definitely swerving." "Is the driver of that vehicle breaking the law?" Officer Tomilello asked. "Without a doubt," he answered. "The law is being broken. It is time to take action." Officer Tomilello pulled up alongside the car. He shouted into his bullhorn, "Pull over! Pull over!" He's trying to stop the car. The driver turned. The driver looked at him. The driver oinked. "Is that pig behind the wheel?" Officer Tomilello asked himself. "Yes," he answered himself. "Yes, that pig is most definitely behind the wheel." Again, Officer Tomilello shouted into his bullhorn, "Pull over! Pigs cannot drive cars! Pull over! Immediately! Immediately, if not sooner. Pull over." Yeah, it doesn't look like Mercy's paying too much attention to him. She thinks it's great. "He is absolutely correct," said Mr. Watson. "Pigs cannot drive cars, and I would like to pull over, but I can no longer feel my legs. Therefore, I cannot step on the brake pedal. Therefore, I cannot stop this car." Oh, Mercy's sitting on Mr. Watson, and she's sitting on his legs, and he can't reach the brake pedal, and his legs don't have any feeling in them. "Oh, dear," said Baby, "I think we are in trouble." Oh, my gosh, look at those expressions. I really like whoever the artist is who did this. Look at Mercy, boy, she is having such a good time. Mr. Watson is not having such a great time. A little bit worried. Now we're up to chapter 10. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen now. Chapter 10. Back on Decawoo Drive, Mrs. Watson invited Eugenia inside. There's no point in worrying alone, Mrs. Watson said. Come in and help me fix a snack for my darlings. Mrs. Watson brought Eugenia into the kitchen. Will you help me butter some toast? Asked Mrs. Watson. Toast? Grumbled Eugenia. Who cares about toast? Don't worry, said Mrs. Watson. She patted Eugenia on the back. If baby is with Mr. Watson, then she is just fine. Mr. Watson is an excellent driver. He is a menace, said Eugenia. Pardon? Said Mrs. Watson. Nothing, said Eugenia. She picked up a piece of toast. Look at this. Eugenia is going to be making toast for Mercy. She applied the tiniest amount of butter. Oh, heavens, said Mrs. Watson. You have to put on more than that. Mercy likes a great deal of butter on her toast. See, look at that. She's putting all this butter, Mrs. Watson is, but Eugenia is just putting a little dab. Who cares how pigs like their toast, Eugenia said. There, said Mrs. Watson. I know that you're worried, but everything will work out. Baby will come home. In the meantime, why don't we just concentrate on our buttering? Toast is not the answer, grumbled Eugenia. But she buttered another piece anyway. Look at that grumpy expression. Do you know people like that? They're always grumpy like that. Yeah, she's not a very happy person. Chapter 11. You must stop the car, shouted Officer Tomilello. But I cannot stop the car, said Mr. Watson. Oink, oink, said Mercy. She was having an excellent time. I have an idea, Mr. Watson, said Baby Lincoln. If you tell me where the brake pedal is, I will apply it. The brake pedal, said Mr. Watson from underneath Mercy, is the pedal to the left of the gas pedal. The brake pedal is the pedal that I do not have my foot on. So now Baby Lincoln's going to crawl over and try to get to the brake so she can step on the brake. Baby unbuckled her seatbelt. She climbed into the front seat. There she goes. She put her seatbelt on. That seems kind of counterproductive, but she put her seatbelt on. She slid as close to Mr. Watson as she could. She looked down. She saw Mr. Watson's foot. She saw the pedal next to it. I have located the brake pedal, Mr. Watson, Baby announced. Excellent, said Mr. Watson. Now, apply it. Baby stretched across Mr. Watson. There he is. Okay, she's trying to put her foot on the brake pedal there. You girls have seen in the car there's a brake pedal and an accelerator. That's the gas. So she's trying to put her foot on the brake pedal. Okay. Baby stretched across Mr. Watson. I am applying the brake pedal, Mr. Watson. Baby shouted. Hold on, everyone. Hold on, everyone. Okay, let's see how well that works. Chapter 12. The car screeched. The car shuddered. Boom, 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 boom. The car careened. The car caroomed. Finally, the car stopped. Car stopped. Got the brakes on. Okay, now they got to talk to the police officer. This is going to be interesting. Uh-oh, what happened here? Let's see what happened here. Looks like baby pig Mercy is flying. Mercy was very surprised. Suddenly, she was not driving the car. Suddenly, she was not even in the car. Suddenly, Mercy was airborne. Mr. Watson was wearing his seatbelt. He did not fly out of the car. Baby Lincoln was wearing her seatbelt. She did not fly out of the car. Officer Tomilello was safe in his police cruiser. He did not fly out of his car. Only Mercy flew. You know why? Mercy was not wearing a seatbelt. So when the car came to a sudden stop, she got thrown out of the car. Oh, looks like he's landing in a big bush. I hope it's a soft bush. "Oh dear," said Baby. "It's an emergency," shouted Mr. Watson. "Alert the fire department." "Was that pig wearing a seatbelt?" Officer Tomilillo asked. "No," he answered himself. "That pig was most certainly not." "Have laws been broken here?" asked Tomilillo. "Certainly, most definitely, laws have been broken here." Mr. Watson and Baby Lincoln and Officer Tomilillo watched Mercy fly. They watched her land. Oof! On the bush. Mr. Watson got out of the car. He ran to Mercy. He wrapped his arms around her and he held her tight. "My darling, my dear," he said, "please tell me that you are all right." "Oink," said Mercy. She snuffled Mr. Watson's neck. "Hooray," said Baby. "She is fine." "Oh, thank you," said Mr. Watson. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." He bent his head and covers the tips of Mercy's ears with kisses. Oh, he's giving the pig kisses on the ears. Police officer thinks that's a little bit strange, but it looks like Mercy's okay. That's great. Mercy's okay. "You are a miracle, a prodigy, a dear," Mr. Watson said, and you are a porcine wonder. But even porcine wonders cannot drive. In fact, porcine wonders should never be allowed to drive. Ever. Mercy sighed. She was glad the ride was over. She felt a tiny bit dizzy and a little bit dazed. She wanted very much to go home. You know what she wants? She wants to go home. She knows that she's going to get her Saturday special lunch with lots and lots of toast with butter. Chapter 13. Eugenia Lincoln and Mrs. Watson stood together on the Watsons' front porch. Okay, there's Eugenia there, and there's Mrs. Watson. They're standing there. They're waiting for Mr. Watson to come back to see if Baby's with them, and a police car drives up. That's always a bad sign when a police car drives into your house. They watched a police car pull into the driveway. Mr. Watson and Mercy and Baby Lincoln were all in the back seat. "As I suspected," said Eugenia. "Trouble, folly, and that pig is right in the middle of it." "Oh," said Mrs. Watson, "my darlings, my dears." She ran out to the police car. "I am so glad that you are home. The toast was starting to get cold." Mr. Watson and Baby Lincoln got out of the car. "We had something of an adventure, Mrs. Watson," Mr. Watson said. "Yes," said Baby, "we have had an adventure, sister." "Folly," replied Eugenia Lincoln. "Yes," agreed Baby Lincoln happily. "Folly." "Laws have been broken," said Officer Tomilillo. "Pig!" shouted Eugenia. "Excuse me," said Officer Tomilillo. "It's all that pig's fault," said Eugenia. She pointed to Mercy. Oh dear, Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Mercy climbed out of the car. She put her nose in the air. She sniffed. Could it be? Yes, it was. Toast. Toast with a great deal of butter on it. What could be better? Toast. Toast with a great deal of butter on it. Chapter 14. "Laws have been broken," said Officer Tomilillo. "Tickets must be written." "Officer, do you like toast?" Mrs. Watson asked. "Toast?" asked Officer Tomilillo. "Do I like toast?" "Why, yes, I do. I do like toast." "Why don't you come inside and have some?" asked Mrs. Watson. "Why don't I come inside and have some toast?" asked Officer Tomilillo. Said Officer Tomilillo. "I can't think of a reason not to." "Lovely," said Mrs. Watson. She clapped her hands together. "Right this way." "What nonsense," grumbled Eugenia Lincoln. "Toast is not the answer." "No, sister," said Baby Lincoln, "but it does smell heavenly." She took hold of Eugenia's hand. "Well," said Eugenia, "it has been expertly buttered." Yeah, because Eugenia did it, so she thinks it was done by an expert. And so, that Saturday, Officer Tomalolo and Eugenia Lincoln and Baby Lincoln and Mr. and Mrs. Watson and Mercy Watson all sat around the table together and ate hot buttered toast. Did Mercy Watson have extra helpings? She did. And so did Officer Tomalolo. So maybe they didn't get a ticket. They're bonding over their experience of eating hot buttered toast. Look at that tongue sticking out. They both really enjoy it. And I think that's the end of the book. So that is a terrific story. I really enjoyed that Mercy Watson story. I'm glad that Mercy didn't get hurt when she came out of the car because she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Okay, that's it. I'll have to find another book for you next time. Bye-bye, girls.